Welcome back, guys, to another episode of FPL Backbenchers. It's good to be back. Today, I'm joined by my co-host Ronajoy and Anjan. Ronajoy, how are you doing?
Doing well. Disappointed over the weekend, but yes, can't complain.
And how was the week for you, Anjan?
Pretty disappointing, but anyways, it's okay.
Well,
How
it
are
was.
you?
I'm fine. I'm glad to be back. I absolutely missed doing the pod last time around. I'm still not 100% recovered, but I just couldn't let go of doing the pod once again. So I'm doing good as of now. The weekend, especially FPL wise, was not that good. I think all of us had pretty much average scores. I rolled over my transfer. I scored 42 points. Nothing much to mention about. I tried to be tricky with my captaincy since I did not have Cristiano Ronaldo, who eventually blanked. So I captained Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think that's the worst week out of all of them to captain Trent. He returned with 2 points for me. So nothing much to mention. Salah scored for me. Antonio came in for me. The defenders were a horrid show. Shaw got subbed. James got subbed. That's about it. How about you guys? I think,
I
Same
had an
story
equally bad
actually.
game week.
yeah.
I think all of us had a poor game week. I captained Ronaldo, who did not return. The one thing which I got lucky was I was thinking about Rafinha to Sar versus Bamford to Saint Maximin, and I had a feeling that Rafinha will start, so I went with the Maximin choice. Both returned, as well as Rafinha returned, so I got lucky over there. Other players mostly did not do anything. Marcel gave me some defensive returns, and Antonio as well. Not much to talk about. 48 points this game week.
Anjan,
Anjan,
I
over to you.
think
How about you?
you took a
How
hit
was your
as
game
well.
week?
Yeah, I took a hit for. I brought in Alonso. He scored 1 point, and I had Rafinha Salah, who just gave me some points. But my captaincy was on Cristiano Ronaldo. He just blanked,
Blank.
so it was a very
41.
pretty average score for me. Same here actually.
Interesting choice to
Disappointed
bring in
week actually.
Alonso. Yeah, interesting choice to bring in Alonso against City, to be honest. Again,
Yeah,
as Ronjay was,
actually,
I
no,
don't think you
like
expected
actually,
much
I was
point
just
from there.
thinking. Yeah, true about that.
Yeah. Interestingly, Ronjay mentioned ASM. So I would like to take a bit of credit because I was not present in the last pod. So ASM as somebody who has been going really strong for me for the past 2 3 game weeks since I have owned him. Right. Anyways, mentioning of bad game weeks, I know somebody who had a very kind of a decent game week comparison to us. Ritvik, I think, scored around 50 odd points, guys, and he is actually the birthday boy today. So shout out to Ritvik for actually having a good game week. It's the 29th of September, so happy birthday, Ritvik, once again. Uh, before
Happy
we
birthday.
move before we move on, guys, to the doing the review of the game week match by match, I just wanted to ask you guys, like, after watching this weekend's matches, did you guys feel that you learned something new? I mean, especially that something, data wise changed for you in your thought process regarding FPL, Ronager?
Every week is you learn new things every week. Obviously, Chelsea's fixtures are turning massively. You have to bring in players like Alonso and the Chelsea defenders. Not much in the rest because Ronaldo, as usual, United were they look like a team who could do wonders one game, and in the next game they would fail miserably. So not very. If you're looking for sure shot captaincy choices every week, United is not the team to go for. Salah seems to be returning every week. I think this is his best start FPL wise in the last few years.
Yeah, most
So
consistent
yeah, those
start.
were the few things that I had. Yeah, those were the few things that I took from this game week. Nothing much because I am now waiting for the internationals to get done, and then you get a clear picture of what is going to happen in the upcoming weeks.
Anjan, you?
Well, I think like there would be many rotation going around right now. Like you need to have a proper
True.
bench actually. Like you just can't have those all those 3.9 million, 4 million defender just who are there for namesake. You need
The
to have
placeholders,
a
basically.
yeah,
You do not
yeah,
have
yeah,
a placeholder.
exactly. Exactly, because there are lots of
Especially if you're
rotations.
owning players like Alonso.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true about
especially if
that.
you're owning players like Alonso.
Yeah, actually, not about him particularly, but like many players are there, like Tare, who was being benched as usual. So, like many players would get rotated right now. And once this Champions Leagues have started, you need to have a proper bench right now, actually.
True, I completely
I agree
agree.
with you there,
Yeah, go ahead.
and even with the fact that it seems that Shaw could be out of this game week. Alonso is starting today, so we do not know if he's going to start during the weekend. And Taz also scheduled to be out of this game week,
Mm,
of the upcoming game week. You have to have a strong bench, regardless.
true.
True, completely agree with everything that you guys said. Regarding Adama Traore, I think a couple of weeks back I predicted this that there will be a rotation in goals once they are not able to score with the current set of lineup because the crop of players that they have in their entire squad, they are on a similar par level as per as skill is concerned. So they have ready-made replacement in the form of Daniel Potence, and I think Neto is injured right now, but he will be coming back after the international break. They already
Podence
have
didn't have
started
a
with.
very good game, maybe actually. Podence didn't have a very good. Podence didn't have a very good game actually.
No, no,
Did you
I'm
see
not
the match?
talking about particular game wise. What I'm
Hmm.
suggesting is they have a lot of options in any
Yeah, yeah,
particular
true about that.
place. So if they're
Hmm.
not scoring, they be wary of this guys. There might be rotation in Wolves squad as general, right? So let's get into the game week since we have already started discussing. The first match was Chelsea against Man City. Before I start, why I asked you the question, what is your takeaway from this particular game week? I agree with you guys regarding the bench part. That you, what I learned from this game week, that there should be a very strong enough bench. You cannot just have placeholders 3.9 dead defenders or dead midfielders who don't play. You need those players to come in. I mean, somebody even like Allen, who actually chipped in with an assist and gave 6 points this game, which is huge because a lot of premium players did not do that. So my point is, apart from this learning, I felt I did not learn anything from this game week. This was a very weird game week to me. There was no like big revelation FPL wise that it changed my mind and it would help me in a wild card or anything like that. Moving on, first match was Chelsea against Man City at Stamford Bridge. I would ask the Chelsea fan to express his feelings regarding this. After three successive beatings of Man City, how did it feel and how did you analyze the match?
It was actually it was actually coming for us. We had a very poor match actually. We had a very poor match. The midfield was non-existent. All those all those we felt there was okay. Warner had some very decent good run, and I think Warner was the one player who had around who had around who had around three shot in the box. Apart from that, Chelsea looked very poor. It was a very poor performance.
I think the
Nothing to add actually.
strategy, as per how Chelsea plays against Man City, or rather how Tuchel plays against Pep Guardiola's Man City, was pretty much the same as they how played in Champions League. The only difference is, and I might be going against the grain over here, I think particularly N'Golo Kante did not have a very good match where he was dominating the midfield in that sense. And although Chelsea was keeping the penalty box crowded, I think Man City was actually going for it man to man, and they were even crowding the box as well. So eventually, a rebound fell into the path of Jesus, and that's how he scored. Defensive solidarity wise, and also I think absence of Mason Mount is something huge, because that generally hampers. Not necessarily, I don't think Chelsea plays in a creative way against Man City, but even the through balls, the long balls, that was probably missing from Chelsea's game. Anything else you feel, Ronager, that was noticeable in this game particularly?
No, I think you've covered most of it. For me, the players to look for in both Chelsea and Man City are especially their defense. Um, Even with so much of rotation in Pep's squad, the defense is one thing which is mostly stable. Diaz and Cancelo should be, in each and every game week. So if you want to go for Man City players in the upcoming game weeks, which are is favorable to Man City, Diaz and Cancelo are definitely the ones to look for. Similarly for Chelsea, you have to have at least two Chelsea players in your team. How you fit in is a totally different call. You could have one Lukaku, one defender, or you could have two defenders, but two players from Chelsea look to be certainly the requirement in the future, in the very near future at least.
Actually, I
We will
wanted
be
to say something. Actually, I wanted to say something. I feel like Cancelo is a very better pick than Diaz. He after like after like after like Diaz joined City, Cancelo started around 87 to 88% of matches, and like attacking wise, he looks a very great option. So I feel like he would be a very good pick in coming days.
Overall,
Actually,
Cancelo is definitely a better pick, but what we have seen in the past season also that Cancelo can miss certain games, but Diaz doesn't. So if you're looking for a sure shot defender every week, Diaz is the one. But if you can just you can have a strong bench and you can have the option of getting a better player from Man City, a better FPL option, Cancelo should be the person, in my opinion.
I think the difference between Cancelo and Diaz is not as huge as probably an Alonso and a Rudiger, in the sense that Diaz accumulates baseline bonus points very rapidly in comparison to how Rudiger does that. Uh, if you have Cancelo and if you have a strong bench option coming in case he misses out, I think he is as good an option as a Diaz. We will be discussing actually about Chelsea and City defenders a bit more later down the line. One small addition to this match, and then we'll be moving on. What I have learned, I felt now after having watched 5, 6 matches of Chelsea's, I think Chelsea as a team is very solid, but they will not be very explosive. I wouldn't be seeing Chelsea scoring of 5 goals a game or 6 goals a game. I feel that their floor and their ceiling is both like 2 or 3 goals around. Even when they are struggling, they will be winning by 2 goals. Even when they are comfortable, they will be probably be winning by 3 goals. So that's something to be probably wary about for people who are considering to wildcard. Next match was at Old Trafford, Manchester United against Aston Villa. Uh, Ronaja, how about you take this? How did you feel about this match?
A penalty saved last time, a penalty lost this time. I think the good part about it was Solskjaer, even though he's a young manager, he had uh, he preferred Bruno over Ronaldo in the penalties, which is commendable because Ronaldo's pressure would have been huge. And Bruno scores penalties for breakfast. It's so easy for him. A penalty miss is something which we hold against. I think most Man United fans do not hold against him. But the gameplay again was very slow. We did not create chances. Even the chances which were created were not very big chances. The XGs for each of those chances were very small. The thing to look for in this match for me, and also from the previous match against Chelsea, Aston Villa looked to be a very strong team, both defensively and attacking wise. Uh, Target, Konsa are really good choices. I think Douglas Luiz is also on set pieces. Uh, but the defensively they look very nice, and attacking wise, also Watkins looks to be a better option than Danny Ings at this point of time. So those are the two players that I am looking at this moment. From United's point of view, I think Greenwood created a lot of chances. So a lot of people who were wary about the fact that Greenwood will not be as effective as he was previously. It should allay your fears, because Greenwood seemed to create a lot of chances. So did Pogba. So all in all, a poor performance by United. But from an FPL point of view, obviously Ronaldo and Greenwood are the ones to go for at United. Also, Maguire seems to be out for a few weeks. So if you're looking, I hope you do not. But if you're looking for a defender option at United, Lindelof would be an option going forward. Yeah, that's all from me. Anything that you guys would like to add?
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question. Has the ball landed yet? The Bruno penalty one? Because it kept on flying. It was an unexpected miss, seriously. I mean, it was good for me as a non-Ronaldo, as a not a Cristiano owner. Uh, I don't have anything to add to this match. The only thing probably that I would like to say is what I feel right now about Cristiano Ronaldo is he is susceptible to score higher against probably a goalkeeper who is more error prone. So goalkeepers who are assured in that sense, assured when I say they are at the top of their game and probably are much more stable like Mendy, Emi Martinez, Ederson, Allison. Probably against these kind of goalkeepers, he will be struggle. I will not say struggle to score, but you will not be expecting a higher score because he has become like ever present in the box. He's somebody who coaches on the mistakes. If some goalkeeper spill is happening, he is there to tap those in. So that will not be happening with a very set and established goalkeeper. That's what I personally feel, and which is why I was pretty actually confident that he will not be scoring that high against Aston Villa. Anything else to add, guys? Otherwise, I'll just move on to the
No,
next match.
no.
The next one was Everton against Norwich. Uh, I sorry to say, but for Norwich, the trend is pretty much similar. I feel Everton kind of dominated. It was a nice surprise to see Townsend being on penalty. Something that I had not predicted. I thought probably Gray or somebody would have been on penalties. That was again a good respite. And yeah, they are just moving strong. Benitez is keeping the team ticking. Anything to add, guys? Uh,
Dakure is a good option.
yeah,
Most of us we have not considered Dakure till now, but he seems to be a very good option. He was very advanced and he had two shots in the box. So when Everton's premier players return, and Everton are up against those teams which we fancy Everton against, I think Dakure could be a really cheap and good option to have in your team. That is the only thing that I wanted to add.
especially with the strikers missing. He's playing very advanced, and even Gray he's actually playing like a second striker. So something to keep an eye out for if till the time DCL and Richarlison are not there, they are really good options. Anjan, anything else to add?
Yeah, I just
Even
want
when
to
they
add
return,
here
I think he
something.
will be playing very advanced. So
No, actually, I
Sorry.
just want to add something. That is target Norwich. That's a very good strategy, actually.
Yeah, they don't seem to have a
yeah,
good
definitely.
set of defenders, I would say.
Yeah.
So they will concede. If they have to win, they have to score. So yeah, that can something be targeted. Speaking of targets, I think over the past couple of weeks, Leeds were a target, and West Ham were playing Leeds at Ellen Road this time around. Uh, they eventually ended up with 2-1 due to an individual brilliance from Antonio. Rafinha again delivered. He is. It's amazing that he's continuously delivering in a limited set of time. I think there is some instruction from probably the club doctor that he cannot play more than 70 odd minutes because he's being replaced around that mark for the past couple of game weeks now. Uh, And yeah, it was not as high scoring as we all expected. We expected absolutely West Ham to dominate. Uh, Probably there are a lot of reasons to that. Media actually also made a lot of saves. In the absence of again Bamford, Klitsch was very advanced. Klitsch actually should have converted one, so Rafinha would have had an assist. Uh, Anything else? I think Antonio is just on another planet right now, so there's nothing to that. In hindsight, I probably should have gone with Antonio captain.
Yeah, true, but
I think for me
okay.
the player to talk about in this game was Benrahma. Benrahma, though he had a good game, he did not return, but his prices seems to be increasing every week. That is a
Yeah,
really interesting trend for
Actually,
me.
Ben
What is
Rama
going
had,
on?
I think,
he
he
got
had
a
one.
bonus as well in a match that he did nothing, especially assist or goal wise. He got one
Well,
bonus.
actually, Ben Rama had, I think, one return in the last 4 games, I think. So, but still, his price has been increasing daily.
Increasing every week, yeah.
Yeah, he has been a threat. I mean, it's not that he has been completely silent, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, return wise, I think probably the Manu match comes into mind where he scored the goal. The matches that we actually expected him to be explosive, he actually did not return. But as a Benrahma owner, for me, even the one bonus in a game week like this seemed like a blessing. So yeah, I'm happy about that. I'm happy about the price rise. Uh, Moving on to the next match, it was Leicester against Burnley at King Power Stadium. It ended at 2-all. Actually, at the injury time, Burnley had won it 3-2. I have wrongly written Brighton actually in the notes. Anyways, but it was overturned by VAR. It would have been a Chris Wood goal. I think in a match involving Leicester, if it's a decent attacking team, there will be goals. That's my takeaway. Leicester are not very defensively sound in that sense. Vardy is on another planet. I think he's somebody who all of us probably have missed out talking about throughout the entire season. He has been consistently ticking. Uh, I know friends of mine from Twitter who have
Actually,
held on to Vardy.
no, actually, I did in the, I think in first pod or second pod, I just said that Vardy would be a very good option for a placeholder like Lukaku. I think
But actually,
I
he
made
is
But
sense.
he is
proving
very,
to be
but
more
he is
than a
very,
placeholder. He is
Yeah,
very
actually
true.
true.
He's actually outperforming the players that we were supposed to be considering him as a placeholder for. He is continuously ticking. Even with scoring an own goal, he still got a brace and got bonus and everything. So, I mean, it's amazing that, interestingly, as you guys spoke about Benrahma, Vardy is going the opposite trajectory. Every week he's scoring, and every week somehow his price is dropping. That is something that is really amazing for me. He is actually cheaper than he started out, and I think he's second or third on the forwards list.
I think
So
second.
yes, yeah, he's second. So I think that's a trick that all of us probably have missed out due to all the secured options. Something to actually consider about. Next match was Watford against Newcastle. My hero ASM been saving me for the past 2-3 game weeks. Again, returned with an assist, got max bonus. Uh, Good again for SAR owners. They also have been enjoying SAR's return consistently. A brace last game week, goal this game week once again. I personally don't own SAR, which is typically frustrating because I actually tipped him to have a good run in when the actual run in started. Uh, this match particularly screams to me that Newcastle generally are not playing a very boring brand of football. They are playing an attacking brand of football, uh, possibly due to the fact that they lack personnel to go a defensive brand of football. But they do not have enough. Probably Callum Wilson is somebody they are missing. They do not have enough as of now to actually win matches. They are competing with the teams. They are eventually managing to draw out matches, but that win is still elusive for Steve Bruce and team. How do you guys feel about it?
Well, I feel like Saint
I think
Maximum.
Newcastle.
Yeah, I feel like Saint Maximum was
Yeah,
kind
go
of.
ahead.
I feel like Saint Maximum was kind of assisted in that match. He was like creating lots of spaces, opportunity for others to have a run and all those
Apart
stuff.
from the three assists, one assist, he had three other big chances which would have been
Yeah,
converted by
yeah.
Willock and
Willock and
Shong Lundstad
long.
and all that.
Yeah, yeah. True
He
about
is
that.
generally a
No,
person
absolutely.
who actually is very good in assisting. I feel he more than a goal scorer, he is much more of an assister who creates, who dribbles, and he does the through ball. But his team is actually letting him down. Had Wilson been there, the story would have been different. Ronnie, you were
True,
saying
true.
something.
No, I was just reiterating what you guys are saying. ASM seems to be the man for Newcastle, and watched Newcastle versus the second half of Newcastle versus Leeds. Newcastle was very good in that game, and I only expect them to improve, and especially when their premier players Wilson comes back. I'm sure that ASM will be a better option at that point of time, and ASM is at the cheaper end of the price range at this moment. So if you are holding on to him, you should be expecting good returns in the upcoming game weeks.
Absolutely. Speaking of cheaper end of the striking budget options, how about our next man in Brentford was against Liverpool? How good is Tony, guys? I
He
mean,
was
we were
absolutely
all
brilliant.
initially frustrated by Tony. How good is Tony?
He was
I
absolutely
Tony
think
is
brilliant.
great. I mean,
he is
Brilliant,
absolutely
brilliant,
brilliant.
sensational. I feel.
brilliant,
I
brilliant.
mean,
Like
even the
I
match.
feel like no, no. I feel like
Yeah,
yeah. I feel like he gave a very torrid time to VVD. He just gave a
Which
very
is a
torrid
huge
time.
thing to say.
Hmm.
yeah.
Which is a huge
Van
thing.
Virgil van Dijk was not looking comfortable. Liverpool in
No,
general, they did not defend well. I mean, going back to the previous match as well, since I was not there to speak about it, even if you guys remember the Wolves match, he had two goals that were not allowed. But I just wanted to state the one that he just backflipped into the goal. That does not show of a striker who is coming up from Championship, who is meek or who is having any kind of self doubt. That looked like a very established Premier League striker who is very confident and assured about his skill and craft. And he looks amazing. He looks actually central to everything that Brentford do. He has a 50% plus goal involvement in whatever Brentford has done till now, which is very high. We often talk about talisman theory, and I think it's safe to say that Tony is absolutely the talisman for Brentford. And
no, no.
Brentford in general,
Actually,
yeah,
actually, not about only Tony. I feel like
Bruno,
MVMO. He looks a very, yeah,
Mbuemo.
yeah. I like.
Yes.
He's a very good option. He like
yeah,
plays
definitely,
forward.
definitely,
He like
definitely.
plays a bit forward, and I think he had a clear goal, which was like cleared from the line. So like he also looked very good actually.
That was a very odd clearance from Matip, by the way. Did you guys
Yeah,
see
yeah,
that? That he waited to turn around to his right side and then he cleared.
yeah,
I think it could have been a goal, but
yeah.
nonetheless he cleared that. Uh, I was treating barring Tony as well. Brentford in general, they do not look like a team that is afraid about the established teams in Premier League. I think going to Brentford and a match away to Brentford will be a difficult fixture for anybody and probably everybody in the league as to how their crowd presence is and how generally Brentford are playing in the Premier League till now. They have absolutely impressed. Goalkeeper wise, if anybody is looking for a 4.5 million goalkeeper, I think David Raya is absolutely up there. He is a
Actually,
brilliant goalkeeper.
no, actually, he is now 4.6 actually.
Yeah, I mean, I meant that range particularly. I'm not exactly pedantic about the price. What I meant is somebody who is looking around in that range, since Sanchez is also 4.6 now, David Raya is actually a brilliant goalkeeper. Yeah, has a lot of saves, looks very assured, and yeah, I'm generally very impressed about Brentford. Anything else, guys, you feel about this match? Because I don't feel we have anything to talk about Liverpool. I mean, it was the same old Liverpool.
I
Mo
think
Salah is on fire. Jota again got two big chances. One he converted, one he couldn't, which was again an amazing save from David Raya. I know people will be saying how could
and
Jota
then an
miss that?
amazing miss.
Yeah, but yeah, an amazing miss as well. But yeah, he easily could have had two goals and an assist. So there's nothing much to add about Liverpool as such. I think this match was all about Brentford.
Yeah, Liverpool, I think were as good as they always are. Brentford, like you said, they're not afraid to take on the big teams. They're strong defensively, and this match showed that when they need to attack and score goals, they can do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Sure.
Moving on to Southampton against Wolves, I think this is the match which probably saved a lot of people's game week. If somebody owned Jimenez or a Wolves defender or goalkeeper Jose Sa,
Sa. Sa.
that they have had a good game week, otherwise not. Wolves managed an away win and 1-0. Even despite the assist for Jose Sa, guy, he is somebody who actually had the highest expected assist out of all the Wolves player. I think it was 0.35. Barring that, also
Oh,
every
is that?
match he is somebody who does have always one or two big chances. Where all of them are similar. Basically, it's a long ball to Jimenez, and he does that solo run to score. Sometimes he can't. Last day he did actually, and it's not a surprise to me when we did that international break wildcard pod as well. When we were doing our template teams, I remember suggesting Sa. Obviously, I did not do it for an assist potential as per se, but I felt that for this entire run, I think he is a very good goalkeeper. Anything else to add, guys? I think
I feel like
No, I
excuse
think
me.
go ahead, go ahead.
I feel like this particular goal would give enough confidence in Jimenez
Jimenez.
actually. Yeah.
Hope so. I think his owners are patiently waiting for that. Again, the fullbacks were, you could say unlucky, you could say lucky. Semedo again got a very big chance. I will not say he missed one on one.
In the first minute,
His chance was saved. He shot from the box and it was saved by McCarthy, surprisingly. But anybody who has stuck with Semedo, he still looks a good option. Their fullbacks are pretty much attacking, barring Marcel, who almost did a WWE attack on Tony last week. But yeah, they are pretty much attacking. Um I hope it gives Jimenez enough confidence to move forward because he's somebody that we are always looking out for in FPL. Me personally, I absolutely love the player. FPL wise, he is the epitome and definition of a talisman in a team. He takes penalties. He is always up front. He is involved in assist as well. So if things go right, we can probably hope for a 180 or 200 around score for Jimenez for the season. Next match was the North London derby, Arsenal against Spurs. I'll try to keep my feelings on a bit of a leash, but it's
Somebody is
interesting to
smiling
see.
actually.
Yeah, it's interesting to
yeah,
see
I'm smiling too.
that. It's interesting to see that
We can smile actually.
Arsenal, after all that flag that we got from everybody, we're actually above Spurs right now in the points table. Uh, but not much about that. Particularly match wise, it was an absolutely dominant performance from Arsenal. No doubts
Sure.
about it. It was reflective of the old Arsene Wenger Arsenal style of passing and passing fast. I mean, not just passing sideways that we always do. We were actually doing passing fast. We were building from the back. I would actually like to give a shout out to probably almost all the signings that we actually done. Ramsdale has been immense. I know a lot of people had issues and had conflict about Burnley sitting down and Ramsdale coming after two back-to-back relegation seasons. But he's somebody who is very energetic, very involved, and he you can see that he wants to perform very good for the team. Ben White played very well. People were very skeptic about Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu has been brilliant since he has been come along. I think he practically nullified Sun's attack to an extent. Ben White actually completely dominated Harry Kane. Although he had a lot of chances, he shot, but Harry Kane is not looking like Harry Kane, to be very honest, this season. And I have been actually waiting for this particular front four for Arsenal to play for a very long time. It was good for them to all come along, gel along, and yeah, happy days. We won against Tottenham. They always find it difficult to win at Emirates, but yeah, this particular performance was really hearty. How about you guys? I am speaking from a
Well,
guy's perspective. How?
no, no. Actually, I just want to ask you something. Like moving ahead, who do you think could be a better option? Odegaard, Saka, or ESR?
If I have to rank them, I would say Saka first, ESR second, and Odegaard third. Odegaard is somebody who is
See,
generally involved in the creation process, but more direct goal involvement, they'll be few and far apart. Yeah.
Okay, like what will be the situation once when this Pepe is again fit to play? Like
I think,
Saka
I
would
think
do.
Pepe is fit.
No, no, no. Pepe is injured, I guess.
see, ideally, if you ask me,
Pepe was on the bench in this game.
yeah, he was. Uh, Ideally, if you ask me, this is what should be the starting four for Arsenal, because no disrespect to Pepe, skill wise, all of them are probably a bit at the higher end to uh, than that of Pepe actually. Uh, Things to consider: Zaka is out. Zaka is out probably for 3 to 4 months.
Three
That is
months,
a
three
worry
months,
for
3 months
us.
ago.
3 months. That is a worry for us, especially it will be a huge worry for us during January when Party is also off for AFCON. So I don't know if we are signing somebody or not. I expect Lokonga to be playing in place of Zaka. Another thing to worry about is, I think, no, that's about it. I think Tierney is somebody who's injury prone, but then we have got Tavares for that. So yeah, that is something that to be considered. Xhaka is a very integral part of the team, very important cog of the team in that sense. He is error prone, but yeah, something to look out for. Anything else,
And
guys?
I also think that Ramsdale could be a good four and a half option,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
especially with
absolutely,
Arsenal doing well.
I
absolutely.
don't see him being benched
Mm.
anytime soon. I think it's his position to lose now. This particular match against Spurs in a North London derby was absolutely a sealer because I wanted to see if he started this match or not. If he's starting a match in the profile of NLD, then yeah, I think he is the first choice, and Arsenal would be looking to cash in on Bernd Leno. As sad as it may feel to us, but I think his heart's just not in the place to play for Arsenal right now. So yeah, it's better to give chance to players who want to play for the club, and yeah, we will have to sign a backup goalkeeper in that case. Moving on to the last match of the game week by another Arsenal Legends team, Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace. They are somebody I'm really impressed about. I feel they were really unlucky to have conceded the injury time goal. They conceded the goal in 94th minute. It was a 5 minute injury time, and that just fired and ignited things at the end to the extent that Sanchez actually got a yellow card after the match in 97th minute once they were inside the tunnel. So that's about. I mean, did you guys watch this particular match, Palace Brighton?
No, I could not watch the particular
It
match. Yeah.
was exciting as anything. I was really hoping Gallagher. Somebody I would like to mention again. Again, he's very advanced, very involved. It was a foul on him that led to Zaha's penalty. was very secretly hoping that
Penalty.
Sanchez saves it, but that was not to be. And Mope also, somebody to mention, he has now scored 4 goals from 11 shots in 6 matches. So that is something uh, to keep in mind. He is in a better state of mind, as he was saying post match, and in a better state of form than he was at the end of last season. Anything else to add, guys?
No, no.
No, I think you ended with the correct note. Maupay seems to be a good option, especially with Brighton uh, playing attacking football. Maupay is really a good option.
Palace also, Gallagher also is a really good option. I think their fixtures are turning now. We'll be looking at the fixtures a bit closely right about now. And then you can, if you could
Yeah.
actually bring up the fixtures, we'll be looking at the attacking fixtures now. The reason of why we are looking at the fixtures right now is because a lot of people are considering to wildcard. So this is, I would like to shout out to the guy. This is taken from FPL Mate 238. You can follow him at the rate of FPL capital MATE38. What he did is he has created a fixture ticker based on a customized fixture difficulty rating from Game Week 7 to Game Week 14. He has primarily built this table for the attack part. He has taken minutes per XG from the final third of last season plus the current season, and he has also taken into consideration home and away fixtures. And for the defensive part, which we'll be showing a bit later, it's minutes per XGC conceded again from the final third of last season as well as the current season. The only caveat to this is that he has a very small sample size for promoted team. But I think that should not be an issue for us because we pretty much know now what are the promoted teams. Brentford's are amazing, Norwich we have already told to target, and Watford is still neither here nor there. So I really liked it, so I just felt that it should be a part of our board. As we can see, attack-wise, Chelsea are absolutely leading the table, leading the charts. They have the best run of attacking fixture for the next 8 game weeks. Wolves after that, then it's Southampton, then it's Brentford. Brentford's actual good fixture run starts from, if you ask me, game week 9. Also, to consider in that, guys, barring the Liverpool fixture for Man City, they also have a brilliant run of attacking fixtures going forward. So, I think, as already have spoken about Chelsea, in the sense that there seems to be a ceiling as to how many goals they scored. Anjan, do you agree to that? Do you see Chelsea scoring 5, 6 goals in a match?
No, I don't feel like. Mm. We would win by most probably 2 to 3 goals, actually.
Yeah, so basically, why I am bringing up this point is because anybody who is probably wildcarding right now, I think it is better probably not to be doubling in the attack because most of there are, you cannot pinpoint like 3, 4 people who will be the goal scorer for Chelsea. Anybody and everybody can be goal scorer. If you have to pinpoint somebody, that somebody will be probably Romelu Lukaku. So if you have a way of
Or
getting,
Alonso.
yeah, but then again, that comes into the defense, right? You cannot be sure. I mean, Thiago Silva is scoring sometimes. Aspilicueta will be scoring sometime. Sometime Callum Hudson-Odoi will be playing attacking wing back role. He might be scoring. So there's no consistency barring, I think, Romelu Lukaku and obviously Alonso. Alonso, if he continues playing, he is a monster of the game. Needless to say, I think we said this in game week 1. If Alonso is confirmed in a team, I don't think anybody will be having a doubt. I think people still not going for Alonso is basically due to the doubt when Ben Chilwell is coming. Don't know when that is happening. I particularly wanted to look, guys, for the mid-priced attacking assets in this section, wherein we can be considering, especially after Trent's injury. Trent is out for 3 game weeks. I think anybody or everybody who is looking to get 3 premium options, it's pretty easy to get that. So many people will be looking at mid-price attacking options. Namely, since City have fixtures coming up, I think people like Torres and Grealish, they come into the picture once again. How do you feel about owning them as an asset, or any other particular 7 million to 9 million player, or around that 6.5 to 8.5 million range player that has attracted you, or that you're looking forward to if you're wildcarding right now?
I think
Well,
one player which you really have to have in your team is Gallagher. He seems to be involved in everything that Brighton is doing. So without
Palace.
much doubt, Gallagher, Brighton. Sorry, yeah, Palace. Gallagher walks into your team straight away. The other players would be, I think, Jimenez. Jimenez, having got his first goal, he
Absolutely.
should really start catching pace, and he should, with games like against Newcastle and Leeds coming up, who are a bit short on the defensive side. Jimenez should really be one player we could target. So those were the two picks that
He
I
has
would suggest,
fixtures as
and
well,
I have
according
in
to the
mind.
ticker, right?
actually,
Yeah,
I just want to say, I feel like someone from Arsenal, be it ESR, be it Saka, someone should be targeted. And apart from that, I feel like Adam Armstrong from Southampton should be targeted because Southampton has a
Southampton
very
also
a
has
good
good
pick.
fixtures.
good
True. Southampton is
After on,
somebody.
they play Chelsea this game, but after that they have a good fixture. Yes.
yeah, true.
Yeah, from game week 8. Actually, for game week 8, a couple of teams whose fixtures are drastically changing are Southampton and Man City. FPL Mate 38 will be doing revised FDR for next game week onwards. So probably we can bring that also to the next pod. Definitely, I agree to all the options. Especially, I like the Jimenez shout out if anybody does not still have him. He has a good run of fixtures, and then again, uh, he has now got his first goal as well. Um, from Southampton, definitely Armstrong is somebody who should be in everybody's mind. Another player I would suggest, I mean, it's not a secret. I think we should not be overlooking Brentford. I feel in that particular bracket of 5.5 midfielder or 5.5 to 6 midfielder, I think Mbeumo is probably one of the best options playing in a front two. And also Ivan Tony. If somebody is looking for a third striker who is cheap, he's only 6.3 right now. And definitely he is somebody who looks to have at least around 15 to 20 goal involvement over the entire season. So
I would
Spurs,
actually go for Tony over Mbeumo because even though Mbeumo looks very good, his returns looks to be a little inconsistent. Whereas Mbeumo is on penalties and is more of the primary striker.
yeah, definitely. I
So
mean,
Mbeumo, if you're going for a third striker, and if you could just have one some extra, if you just spend some extra of your budget there, I think it's worth having Tony over Mbeumo.
but I think if you consider, like, let me put you on a spot. What do you think is a better option? Jimenez plus Mbeumo or Tony plus Traore? I think Jimenez plus Mbeumo makes.
Traore,
I would not suggest Traore to anyone, to be very honest.
Traore,
Traore, no.
yeah, but Traore seems to be. I am not even sure that if Traore is going to start next game week. So at this moment,
He should
I
not
would
be
say keep
starting.
your hands off
So
Traore.
we are limited if we are looking to attack Wolves from an attacking point of view. I think we are limited in the midfield department. There is nobody we can probably go with the certainty that they will be starting irrespective of anything, and they are a good option. I mean, you can argue about Trincao right now, but I think even he can lose this place if they don't
Even
bring
he
on
isn't
score.
sure.
Yeah, even if he is in short. So in
They have a
that
lot of options
perspective,
in that
in that
position.
perspective, I would say Mbuemo is a good option, especially considering a lot of people have Gray from Everton, but their fixtures essentially are not that favorable going forward. They are, I think, 15th on the fixture ticker. So if somebody is looking forward to that, you can have two midfielders in the range of 5.5 in the form of Gallagher and Mbuemo. Definitely. Anybody else? Spurs have a good fixture. Anybody from Spurs interest you guys?
No,
Not at
no
this
one
time.
at.
Spurs don't want to play one. They don't want to see to play. They don't want to play football at this moment. Nuno has done some magic. Even like you said, Kane doesn't want to be there, and
I
Spurs
think
will
it has
at least not
psychologically affected
before
him.
the.
I mean, we often, as I have mentioned this before as well, we often tend to forget that players are people as well. That failed transfer would have affected him, no matter how much somebody is a professional. When somebody has the heart to go, and that is stopped, and he probably, I'm no disrespect to any Spurs fan watching this, but he probably does not see Spurs winning anything this year again, and he being in the prime career or prime age of his career, he feels it's probably a wasted opportunity. I personally feel looking at his stat is that his mind probably is not 100% into the game because Harry Kane having only 9 shots over 6 game week is something that is unheard of. Actually, I've not heard of that before. Another player that I would like to mention, I think should be a mainstay in anybody and everybody's team freeze with their wildcarding. If you still don't own Rafinha, definitely own Rafinha. He's somebody who looks like scoring every match, and you are pretty much confident that you will be getting something out of Rafinha. I mean, both of you being the Rafinha owners, I think you can enlighten upon that a bit more. I still don't own Rafinha, but I feel if I own Rafinha, I will be expecting at least one return.
Yeah, that is exactly the reason I have kept him in my team.
So yeah, I mean
Rafinha will minimum give me
something. I
return
mean
every
you can
game
expect
week.
that he will give you something, be it an exceptional goal, be it an assist, something or the other. Rafinha will be there. Anybody else to talk about, guys?
No.
Excuse
No,
me.
I think these were the major players. There are also always other options, but the
These
ones
are
you mentioned right
the
now,
glue guys
the
as we
major
speak
ones.
about them, barring the premiums, the glue guys that will help you actually in building the team. Now, if you look at the defensive ticker, fixture ticker according to the fixture difficulty rating, Wolves are actually at the top of the rating. I think definitely Sa, Semedo, Marcel, all of them are an option. You guys already own about them. Your experience owning them, guys. Happy with
Not
them.
yet.
Yeah, I own Marcel. I'm pretty happy with that. And if I was wildcarding, I would have gotten Sa as well. I would have
Yeah,
doubled up on Wolves defense because Wolves defense looks to be very strong. They're not conceding too many goals, and Sa also has this assist potential, it seems. So yeah, definitely uh, Semedo, Sa, and Marcel are the ones to choose from Wolves.
absolutely. I would like to touch a bit upon the Chelsea defense. So I would like Anjan to actually enlighten us about the Chelsea defensive situation, considering that James will be out for 3 to 4 game weeks.
Well, I feel like Aspilicueta would be a first choice. Hudson Odoi can play odd game. So, like, Aspilicueta would be the first choice now, right wing back.
He was
Barring with that,
always the first choice, I think. I mean,
yeah,
No,
considering he
no,
is the club captain and everything. Yeah.
no. Actually, before that, in some games, Aspilicueta can play on the right-sided defender also.
Mhm.
So, like now,
How
like
about how about Christensen now? So
yeah,
like if we consider that Aspilicueta will be playing in the right side defensive, does that not make Christensen a better option now to own?
yeah, true. I feel like Christensen
He's
would be
cheap
a
as well.
very yeah. He's only I think he's the cheapest one right now, and he would play almost I think 9 out of 10 games.
And how long is actually Reece James out for?
We didn't get a definitive like confirmation yet, but whatever I have read in Twitter or in Athletic, it should be around 4 to 6 weeks.
I was reading
I heard it's 3 weeks. Yeah.
a comment from Tuchel that probably it might be earlier than that. but still it's something interesting to consider. And I was chatting to you, Anjan, after the game, and you said that since a lot of people are looking at Alonso, that you said that Alonso particularly did not have a good match and probably a couple of bad performance, and he might lose the place to Chilwell. Is first of all, I would like to ask, is Chilwell actually ready to play? And secondly, because what Tuchel suggested earlier, that he is probably not mentally ready to play in that sense, since the Euro debacle and everything. And do you think, would you suggest people going on wildcard to actually go for Alonso?
Well, people going on wild card should definitely go for Alonso along with a very good bench. Suppose suppose if he is being benched in like some odd game, then your bench should come. But Alonso should be a priority actually.
Yeah, so I mean, my point is that he might be benched some games, and your bench option will be coming to help you. But is it like if he loses his place, he's not coming back into the team at all? Because that becomes a
Mm,
transfer for somebody down the line.
no, that doesn't looks right now. Alonso had a like poor game, no doubt about it. But I feel like overall we played very poorly in that particular match. Nobody had a very great game.
Alonso is playing tonight
Yeah, he's
against Juventus.
yeah,
He's starting. Okay.
yeah, he's starting.
Yes, he's starting.
I personally feel I don't I will ask Ronja if he has to add something. I think personally, since James is not there and with Mount not completely fit, I think Alonso plays because they do not have much other creative outlet. Alonso is somebody who is very good at sending in the crosses across over to Lukaku. So I don't see Tuchel missing out on everybody who can actually pass to Lukaku because there are very few of them. Aspilicueta is somebody else who can probably be passing, but the creative influx from the Chelsea team attacking wise will be absolutely diminished if Alonso is not playing. So, yeah, as Anjan suggested, that if you want to go for Alonso, definitely go for him, but you should be prepared with a strong bench option to come in case he's missing the odd match. Because if Alonso misses the match, Anjan, you can back me up on this. I don't think he comes on for 10 minutes. Either he plays or he does not play at all.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so there's no chance of you getting a one pointer in the form of a 10-minute appearance. Either he will play or he will not play at all. Ronja, you want to add anything about Chelsea defenders? Anything, anybody particularly that might have interested you?
I have got I no I have got in Alonso this game week with a thought that I'm going to have a strong bench,
Hmm.
just so that if he doesn't play, my bench can compensate for that. And exactly the reason which you mentioned, I do not see him playing 10 minutes or 5 minutes. But yes, I do fear that he will not be starting the next game week because he's starting today, and with
Yeah,
the
that's
next
something
game
to keep in
against
mind.
Southampton.
Yeah,
And if Chilwell is fit, I'm sure he is fit. Chilwell will also want to have some games under his kitty. So Tuchel might just give him
I
a
think
run. So
the
I am,
Southampton match might be an ideal match for Chilwell to get some time.
yeah, I agree.
That looks like it. We have not spoken about Mendy. I mean, nobody is mentioning Mendy. How about if people are wildcarding, they go for Mendy as a goalkeeper? Too expensive,
Actually, yeah, very much expensive, and there are better options.
but he's somebody who's assured, right? I mean, it takes out all
No, I
the.
think Kepa started the last game.
That was
Mendy was
Mendy because Mendy
he
was
was injured.
ill that match,
Yeah.
ill or injured that
Hmm.
match. I don't think willingly Mendy will miss a league game.
No, actually,
It takes out.
I feel like okay, if you like have a headache in your mind that okay, Alonso might start, might like miss out game, you should go with Especulator. He's a like he's a club captain. He should start most of the matches, especially right now. James being injured, he will get you that odd edges actually.
True. So, for people who are actually considering Mendy, if you want to avoid all the hoopla about who will play, who will not, you can probably go for Mendy. But then again, he is somebody we generally don't prefer a very expensive goalkeeper. Uh, if you have to rate the Chelsea defense, I think by unanimously we all say that Alonso is number one. Who would you place second FPL perspective, Anjan or
Mm,
Roninger? You can also chip in.
I would go for
Aspilicueta, then
Aspilicueta right now.
Aspilicueta, then Rudiger, then Christensen, right?
Alonso, Aspilicueta,
Yeah.
Rudiger.
Cool. So
Yeah.
that's about it, guys. Barring this, I think City have a very good fixture coming up, and their fixtures are turning as well. So I think there's nothing much to speak about it. If you want a City defender, Cancelo and Diaz, they are the standout options, undoubtedly. So
Laporte,
somebody,
I think Laporte is 5.5, cheaper than
he
both of them. But
he
I
is,
like,
but then again, if Stones will be getting once he is fit and he's match fit, I think he will be getting the odd game because last year it was the Diaz and Stones partnership that actually I feel that won City the title. So there will be doubt in that. Uh, Plus, Diaz is better at accumulating the bonus. He has upped his game assist wise. I think he has already surpassed his number of assists that he had done last season entirely in this first few couple of months. So that's there. And Walker is somebody who is more defensively sound. So Cancelo is somebody you will be getting probably a lot of assist potential, and he also got a goal last time around against in a Champions League match. If you guys have watched it, anybody else interests you? I don't think anybody of us or anybody actually is going for Ederson. So
no, 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 not at this moment. There are, I think, far better option than that.
one option
Cheaper
actually
options.
we did not speak about during attack is Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, he can become a very significant factor in our season for somebody who is looking to break the template in the form of the three premiums, which is Ronaldo, Lukaku, and Salah. I think for somebody looking to invest, I was actually having a chat with Ritwik sometime back regarding this exact same thing. And what I felt is that De Bruyne is somebody that Pep feels that he does not need to play him in probably the easier matches to win the match. His focus, I mean, we have seen this last season as well. De Bruyne, Foden, they have been much more utilized in the Champions League matches. In saying that, you can be rest assured that De Bruyne will be playing the tougher matches in the Premier League. And barring this, there will be a period of 3 to 4 game weeks where you should be getting in De Bruyne and captaining him as well. But that, as per Pep today, is very hard to predict. The closest you can get to predicting is probably if City does not have a Champions League match and there is a long gap in between. So he will not like them to not have a match fitness, and those are the games that probably he might be playing. So if De Bruyne is not playing in the international
I
break, yeah, so Burnley home is an
I
option
am a
to
wait and
consider.
see on De Bruyne.
I feel like
I'm a wait and see on De Bruyne because he's quite expensive, and if he doesn't start, it's really going to dent your team. So
I feel like
Yeah,
at
I
least for
mean,
another 2 game weeks, I'm a wait and see.
any Man
yeah,
City player comes with a cautionary sign. I mean, you cannot be sure that they will start. If you are planning to gamble, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like poker. If you are willing to gamble on that, it's a high risk, high reward thing. But you should be prepared for the odd benching. There is nothing that is assured when it comes to Man City, and you absolutely need a very strong bench for that, barring the defense. That is, yeah. And then you're saying,
no, I feel like if you want to get someone from City attack wise, I feel like Grealish should be the safest option. But
he
right
is
now,
the safest, but he is not necessarily a very explosive option as per how City are. I mean, he has a very low goal involvement. He has probably around 20% goal involvement in whatever City has done till now. You will not want a Grealish to be giving you only an assist when City are winning by a margin of 5 nil. So that is like underutilization, I feel, of a particular City asset. You need to hit those highs, right? From people, City, how they are structured for the past few years, they have become that high risk, high reward team.
Yeah, true.
Barring this, I think defensively, Southampton also have a good run of fixtures. A lot of people own Livramento. If you are considering he also becomes one of our glue guys, absolutely hold on to Livramento. He is a more than able option to be coming off from your bench for these odd benchings. Any other fixtures interest you guys? Any other team interest you defensively, barring these two?
Arsenal, Arsenal,
Arsenal, yeah,
actually.
definitely. Arsenal, I would say you have a ready-made option. Ben White is somebody who is nailed, who will be for 4.4 million. I think he's still right now.
Mm.
As Ronjay also mentioned, Ramsdale is an interesting option. Is for somebody looking for a 4.5 million goalkeeper. But be wary for the odd benching. I mean, there might
Benching
be an
of who
instance that
actually?
Leno plays that game,
Okay,
but
fine.
it's his place to lose. Barring this, I think Tomiyasu is absolutely nailed on, and he's also a very good option.
He is, I think,
Four and a
4.5
half,
right now. 4.5.
yeah, he's
Okay.
4.5, 4.5 million.
Attacking
Tomiyasu, and
potential?
he has decent attacking potential. I will not say he's on Tierney level, but he's somebody who has that ball progression. He is not somebody who's looking to defend or you know track back or pass the ball back. He's somebody who's always looking to progress the ball forward. So you might get the odd assist. Anybody
Yeah.
else,
Okay.
Ronja, interests you defensively for wildcard option?
No, I think we have covered most of it. I think Ta is one of the tough choices that people will have to make. We are still not sure how long he is out.
It's said to
If
be
he's out
three
for one single
weeks.
game week, obviously it's.
Yeah, it's said to be three
I heard
weeks.
it's one single game week. Okay,
Yeah, so that comes to a
so
single
that is
game
a
week because that is
stickler.
the gap. If you see 3 weeks, he'll be back by game week 8, considering there's an international break in between. The match will be against Watford if he's coming in game week 8. But then again, there is also an argument that the next match, very next match, will be against United. So
No,
you can take a
actually,
gamble.
yeah. No, actually, he's like next match would be United. Then they have a Champions League match against Atletico. So, like, yeah, if you want to gamble, I think this is
I
the
think it's a
perfect time to
viable
gamble.
gamble, but
Yeah, perfect time to gamble.
provided if you have a plan to get him back in the future, yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a viable gamble. For anybody who is actually asking, I think he probably ends up missing only one match. So
Actually,
yeah,
I just wanted to add something in that our defense section. Do you people like people? Do you have any interest in like Crystal Palace defender? Like they have a decent run of fixtures soon.
I think Anderson is a good option. Anderson is absolutely on fire, and he has
Guetta,
actually changed the Palace defense. Guetta, I feel, is
Guetta.
expensive. He's 5 million, right?
No, I guess he is 4.5.
Hmm. I think is.
I think he's 5 million, if I'm
Oh,
not
I'm not
wrong.
sure.
So considering a 5 million player for Crystal Palace is too expensive, I think Anderson is 4.5. So Anderson is probably somebody will be. I would be personally interested if I'm going for Palace right now.
Like everybody suggested, like we also thought like uh, Crystal Palace would play a very attacking kind of football. They won't think about defense and all. But yeah, they look like they are a very decent team,
They are a very
defending wise.
organized team. Vieira
Yeah.
has actually organized. He has lost all the deadwoods in the summer, so they have
Mhm.
PBA and everybody who was old and they are gone. So yeah, they are very good built and organized team in that sense. Good in
Guetta is
attack
actually
and
Guetta is actually 4.5.
okay, is he?
Yeah,
I was
he's.
not aware about it. I don't know why then he was not spoken about. Probably the fixture run that he had. But
Mm.
generally, I will not be interested in Palace because you would still feel that Palace concedes. barring the odd match, you will still see Palace conceding the goals.
Like
It's a good attack.
no, I feel like if like Pele's concede also, Guetta would have like lots of amount of saves compared to the similar kind of saves of Sanchez, which he doesn't have actually.
Yeah. So I think if it's a question of 4.5 million defender, I would suggest probably go for Ramsdale. He will be a better option than Guetta, playing for
Yeah, yeah.
a better team
We
in
have
that.
better options in Sa and Ramsdale.
Yeah, Sa is actually expensive. He's 5 million. But if you're looking for a 4.5 million, I would say Ramsdale, David Raya. These are better options. I would feel than Guetta. I think Brentford defense is better than Crystal Palace defense. They are much more organized. But then again, Zanka is coming into the Brentford defense. Pinnock got injured, so that is something to be wary about. Should we move on to
Oh,
Game Week 7 fixtures, guys?
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's do a quick
Yeah.
preview as to what we think will happen. First match is Manchester United versus Everton again at Old Trafford. Ronjay, how do you see this match playing out?
United are not going through a good run of good run of form. I either United are going to win this game very easily, a 3-0, or I am expecting 1-0 loss even because the form doesn't seem to be very good, and that is why I'm really skeptic about what how United are going to do. I think they really need the international to come soon.
I personally, actually, am wary about this particular fixture. I see this being a 3-0 or 4-0 in favor of United. There will be a fight back. There will be an answer back. I do see. I mean, it's a good fixture, especially for it's a very bad fixture for me as a non-Cristiano Ronaldo owner. But yeah, it's a good fixture for a Ronaldo owner. How do you see this, Anjan? Score wise?
Well, score wise, I feel like United should win it by 2-0.
2-0. So I think we pretty much.
I hope they do.
I think I see United winning this comfortably. I don't see it being much of a challenge, as big as a challenge as the Aston Villa match. Next is Burnley against
It
Norwich.
should be easier than just win.
Yeah. Next is Burnley against
This is going to be an
Norwich.
interesting game. I think Burnley will be very attacking in this game because they need points, and Norwich particularly not doing very good at this moment. I think Burnley should score 2 goals, 2-0 to Burnley. I think if you are playing a punt for this game week only, Wood is a good option.
I agree to that. I agree to a similar score line. Norwich is something to keep in mind. Norwich is very susceptible to attack from their left hand side. I don't know who plays for Burnley in the right wing position, but yeah, that is something to keep in mind if you're considering targeting Norwich. They are defensively weaker in the left hand side. I do see a similar score line, 2-0 to Burnley.
Well, I feel like it should be a 2-2 kind of draw match. I don't feel Burnley are that old Burnley which had a very good defense. They are very sound defensively. They have been not that good at this particular moment. So I feel like both of them would concede, and it would be a 2-2 kind of match.
I still feel, I mean,
Interesting.
Norwich's attack is a bit insipid right now. Pukki only had one shot on target, I think, or rather one shot in the entire match last game week. I don't see. I understand that Burnley defense is not that good, but I don't see them conceding 2 goals against Norwich. Anyways, something to be seen as an interesting scoreline if it comes to 2 goal is something that a lot of people who are owner of, I think, Gilmore will be interested in. He might be coming into use. Next match is Chelsea against Southampton. What do
One
you
nil,
see as a
3-0
scoreline?
Chelsea.
1-0.
One. 1-0. Ronja, how do you feel?
3-0, 2-0 to Chelsea.
I feel it depends on tonight's match, but I feel it will be around 3-0 kind of a match for Chelsea. They will absolutely get the clean sheet. I have no doubt in my mind regarding that. But Goal wise, yeah, I think it will be 2 or 3 nil because Southampton is not somebody who will just be happy to concede a goal and sit back.
No, actually,
Leeds, what?
no, actually, just Southampton, like 2 weeks back, they 0-0 draw with Man City. Do you remember that?
Yeah, they had a 0-0 draw against Man City as well as West Ham. But the thing is, if we are to suppose that Chelsea will score, which they will, I feel, I don't have any doubt in my mind that Chelsea will not be able to score against Southampton. Once they have conceded, I don't see Southampton sitting back and be happy with that, conceding that one goal and not going for it. And that going for it, I think if Chelsea are pretty decent in counter attack. So I do see it being more than a single solitary goal, especially with me being a Lukaku owner. I'm absolutely hoping for it being more than a 1 nil, honestly.
Are you captaining him?
Yeah, as of now, yes.
Okay.
Leeds against Watford.
I feel
It's
like
going to be an interesting game. I think this game is again going to have goals in this. Leeds being at home, I fancy them. I think 2-1 or 3-1 to Leeds. Saar to get a return, Rafinha to get a return. And then the scoreline would obviously depend on who are available to play for Leeds in defense.
Is
But I
Bamford
still
back?
fancy Leeds to get through this game 2-1.
Is
not
Bamford
yet,
back?
actually.
No one knows. At least I do not.
Actually, just you have to wait for the pressers actually to know exactly like
True,
he is fit or not.
true.
If like
I
I feel
do
like
see getting
see,
Leeds their first victory.
yeah. I also
I
feel the same.
see Leeds will get their first victory of the season. I don't think it'll be a 3-1 kind of. I see it being a 2-1 kind of a match
Yeah.
in favor of Leeds. Wolves
So
Newcastle interesting match. Uh, I don't know how to call it. Especially, I think it will be probably another draw for Wolves against Newcastle. It'll be a 1-1 kind of a match. How about you guys?
yeah, I also feel like
I see goals 2-2.
So a draw
I
basically once again.
yeah I feel like it would be a
Yeah,
I
draw.
feel like it would be a 1-1 kind of draw. It should be like Wolves Jimenez scoring and Saint Maximum scoring.
Hope so. And next match is Brighton against Arsenal. Uh, think Arsenal will sneak a victory. It will not be by a huge margin. I think probably 1 nil or 2 nil to Arsenal.
Well,
I would go for a 2-1 victory to Arsenal.
I feel like Arsenal would just win it 1-0.
The reason for that is, I mean, it's not an Arsenal bias. I mean, having watched Brighton, I think they are a bit not that potent going forward. I understand they got a goal against Palace at the last minute, but attacking wise, apart from set pieces, I don't see them having much of a threat. It could be an egg in my face, but I think Arsenal might keep a clean sheet. Next match Palace against Leicester. This is something that I see a very goal scoring kind of a match. I will go for a Palace victory here. I'll go for a 2-1 victory over Leicester.
A 3-2 Palace victory. I would go for a 3-2 Palace victory.
I feel like Leicester would win it 2-1. I would just go against.
Just to go against us. Good.
No.
Uh,
I feel like Leicester are a better team than Crystal Palace. Vardy is in very good
yeah,
touch
absolutely.
right now.
He's in a very good form.
Hmm.
It needs to be seen how Palace react, but because it was a heartbreaking draw for them in the 95th minute, so I don't know how they recover from it. But this reaction, I feel, will tell us a lot about how Palace generally asset-wise would be for FPL. Next fixture is Spurs against Aston Villa. Honestly, I don't know how to especially call this. I want to say that Spurs
I
will
don't know which
win, but I
Spurs
can.
team. I don't know which
Yeah,
Spurs team will come out. Will it be the Arsenal one or will it be the one slightly improved one? if they play like the game, if they play like last week, Aston Villa should win it easily. But I'm expecting some kind of reaction from Spurs. I think a 1-1 draw would be would be my call for this game.
I was also about to go for something similar. I genuinely want to say Spurs will win this match, but I cannot say that with any confidence. Especially Villa are on a high after beating Manchester United last game week. Watkins looks very potent, very dangerous. Danny Ings is somebody who is very lethal in front of the goal. Spurs are not very good defensively. They concede a lot. It might not be a shock as well if they lose this match, but I would say, yeah, I would say 1-2 Spurs. You beg to differ, Anjan, again, once again.
Yeah, I feel like Spurs should win this match by 1-0.
1-0. You will
1-0.
keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, I feel so. Not a
Next
Spurs
match,
fan actually.
next match, West Ham against Brentford. It's an interesting
A really
match.
interesting game. I think there could be goals again in this game. I would say 2-1 to West Ham or 3-2 to West Ham. I think both teams will score, but West Ham will just nick the game 3-2 to West Ham.
I
I
feel
also
like
feel it's
I feel like
yeah. Go ahead.
it would be a I feel like it would be a high scoring draw like 2-2.
It's a tough to call. I don't know. I feel probably West Ham might just get the victory. I would say it is a 2-1 kind of a match, probably in favor of West Ham. Very hard to call it. It won't surprise me if Brentford ends up winning this one as well.
Do you feel
Last
like
match, the blockbus.
wait do you feel like Antonio would score again?
Yeah,
I feel so too.
if
There's a good chance of
if
scoring.
West
Let's
Ham has to score, he will.
say that.
He's very good in one-on-one take-ons against. He basically attacks the center of defense. Considering they will be having Zanka, I have no doubts that Brentford will concede. But it's to be seen how much West Ham can take the Brentford attack because Tony is really good. Last match, the blockbuster match of the game week, Liverpool against Man City, guys. How about prediction times?
I think Man City will win this 3-1 to City.
3-1 to City.
City are back.
I feel like Liverpool would win this match 2-1.
I think it
And
will be
especially
a
since they've lost yesterday against PSG.
yeah.
3-1.
I think it will be a 3-2 kind of a match. It will be a very high scoring match. I see Man City winning this one against Liverpool. It might not surprise me also if it is just 3-1 as well against Liverpool. I do see City winning this one, especially as Ronnie J pointed out, them losing that match. They will like to finish this run on a high, where they had probably the three most difficult away fixture in European football right now: Chelsea, Liverpool, and PSG. So yeah, they would like to finish this run on a high. So that's about our prediction for the upcoming game week. From these particular matches, guys, who do you think is the best captaincy option and why?
I feel
Anjan, you
like
first.
I want to go for Ronaldo.
Yeah, you.
but like
I want to go for Ronaldo.
but
Yeah,
like
let us hear Ron J first.
no no
He
no
wants to
wait
go
wait
for
wait
Ronaldo. And
no wait he just told that he doesn't feel like United would win this match like
yeah,
if
1-0 and
if
all.
like yeah then why are
Yeah,
you
that
going
is
for
why I'm
him
saying that
actually?
I want to go for Ronaldo. No, no, I said that is why I want to go for Ronaldo. You listen to me very carefully. But if
You,
I if I'm
yeah,
not biased, my choices would easily be Rafinha. They play Watford at home, or Alonso even. So I would, I do not have Lukaku. I do not plan to bring him, and I have got Lukaku, Alonso in this game week. And so either Rafinha, Ronaldo, or Alonso, one of those three. I'm not looking at Salah and Antonio at this moment. Though Antonio should score, Brentford are good defensively, so I'm a little uh, wary there. So that leaves my option as those three. Let's see. I think right now I'm on Ronaldo, as you would see in the next section, but it might change to either Alonso or Rafinha.
Anjan?
Well, I feel like Lukaku is the best option for this match if you have him. But yeah, apart from that, I feel Ronaldo is a very great option. No doubt about that. Apart from that, I feel Antonio is also a very good option.
I, for me personally, I think Lukaku is the best option. Primarily, Chelsea will be looking for a reaction after losing to City. They would not be looking to go much afar from the title race itself. And yeah, I think considering all the opponents and everybody who are facing, City and Liverpool assets are basically out of the question because they are facing each other. It's highly unpredictable who will be scoring in that match. So yeah, if you ideally for me, as I said, it will be Lukaku. If you put me on a spot and say who is the best option overall, I would say Ronaldo as well. I think Ronaldo is the best option. I do see him scoring very high this game week. Right. Let's move on to our team, guys. Let's see Ronja's team first. Ronja, if you could read it out for
Okay,
our
so I
listeners.
think yeah, I have Sanchez in my goalkeeping area. Alonso, so I have done a transfer short to Alonso, and also have Arnold and Martial. Obviously, Arnold seems to be out of this game week, and I have Eiling on the bench. If not Eiling, I have Livramento. So I think I have that covered. In my midfield, I have Traore, Rafinha, Greenwood, Salah. I am looking to transfer out Salah and take a -4 hit. I'm still looking at which options to bring in, or which players to bring in. So that is something that I'm yet to consider. In my attack, I think one of the best attacks that we can have, San and Lukaku, Maximin, Ronaldo, and Antonio. Right now, I'm captaining Ronaldo, but it could easily change to Rafinha. So right now, what I'm waiting for is to receive some kind of information on Eiling, because that would you know help me. If even if Alonso doesn't start, I will have two defensive option defensive options on the bench, so I would easily substitute Traore out to some midfield option. That is my team for this game week.
You have how many FTs? You have one FT or two FT?
I had one FT which I used.
So you have already used that on.
Short to Alonso.
You have done Shaw to Alonso. So Shaw is not playing this game week.
He's doubtful. He might or he might not. But I thought Alonso. It's a good time to bring in Alonso.
Is he
Looking at the
playing
game
tonight?
week.
Shaw.
I would.
No,
Shaw is not playing.
He's not playing tonight. And I don't know if I misheard you or not. Did you say that you're looking to take out Salah for a -4?
Traore. Traore.
Oh, I heard that you're looking to take out
Wolves.
Salah for a -4. I was like, what?
That might not be a bad option if I could bring in Salah next
Yeah,
week.
I
I
just
was wildcarding,
pretty much
but
blanked out after I thought I heard that. I was like, why? Did I miss something? Okay. Anyways, yeah. So you're looking to take out Traore. You're waiting for what you said to do that?
yeah.
some kind of fixtures and some news during the press conferences, and also to see wait till the last moment to do my transfer.
Who are your options?
Go with the gut feeling.
No, no, like no, no,
I
no,
really have not thought about. I have not had the time to.
no. Like he said, he's
Sorry.
no, like he said, he's waiting for the news of uh, Eiling actually.
Okay. Okay, moving on to Anjan's team. Anjan, why don't you read it out for us?
Well, Sanchez in goalkeeper, Alexander Arnold, Alonso, Ben White, and my midfield is Saar, Rafina, Mount, Salah, Traore, and my forward are Antonio and Ronaldo, and my bench are Shaw, Simicas, Scarlett. And right now, Ronaldo is my captain. It might change to Antonio also, but yeah, I'm 90% sure that that uh, Ronaldo would be my captain.
You have how many FT? One.
Yeah, 150.
Planning to use it or roll over?
No, actually, I'm planning to use it. I'm waiting for the news on Mount actually. If like Mount is definitely out for this game week, so like I would do a transfer Mount to someone else. And if not, I would ideally I will remove Alexander Arnold too. I would remove Alexander Arnold or show to a defender, probably Chelsea defender.
Okay, understood. Okay, I will just go through my team. Uh, I have Sanchez in goal. I have a very colorful team in that sense. Trent, Shaw, James, and Ben White playing as of now in a 4-3-3 formation. Greenwood, Salah, and Benrahma in midfield. And up front, I'm pretty much happy about it. It's Saint Maximin, Lukaku, and Antonio. Lukaku is presently my captain. On my bench, I have Duffy first sub, Jota is second sub, and Allen from Norwich is third sub. I do have two FTs. Definitely, I'm looking to sort out my defense. I would not be touching my attack in that sense. It's a decision for me. I have not decided as of yet. Before the Trent news came, I was pretty much fixed on removing Shaw and James. But now that the Trent news has come, it's something that I have to consider as what to do about it. Any suggestion for me, guys?
You should get
Who should I remove?
Go
I
for a
know who
Chelsea
I
defender.
should get. No, no, I know who I should get. I just need a suggestion as to who I should remove first.
Shaw, James and Shaw are the obvious choices.
Why not Trent?
If Trent is only away for 1 week and you're not wildcarding before after the uh, internationals during the internationals, you should be keeping Trent in your team. So I would personally say Shaw and James.
well. Anyways, if like Trent supposedly plays for game week 8 also, who would be keeping Shaw after this particular game week? Would you
No,
be
but
keeping Shaw?
I would not. But in this particular game week, if Shaw is playing against Everton at home, I don't feel that is a bad fixture for Shaw. Again, I don't feel many of the fixtures are bad fixtures for Shaw, but somehow they managed to turn it around as a bad fixture defensively. But yeah, if he plays, I think it's a decent fixture that I can hold off for 1 week. Rather than playing a Duffy in place to hold a Trent, I can actually sub out Trent and play Shaw. But I need that confirmation first regarding Shaw.
Whom we are you looking for?
If um, I would be, I mean, needless to say, I'd be going for Chelsea defenders. That is, I think my priority would be Aspiculeta. I would be looking to get Aspiculeta and probably Alonso if I can manage that. As of now, I'm not set on taking a hit, but that might change. I'm a very hit, you know,
Hit-driven
hit
manager.
freak.
Loving hits
Yeah,
having.
I'm not very afraid of. I'm not a very hit averse person. So I feel that considering a lot of people will be wildcarding, me having two free transfer is the perfect way to probably have a mini wildcard of myself. So yeah, I'll be looking at that.
So like,
Nothing is fixed.
just a question. When you guys are planning to wildcard actually?
Um, I think the reason for me particularly to wildcard would be actually to get Ronaldo because that will be having to restructure my team a lot. I mean, if you see people who have three premium kind of situation or who have Ronaldo, their team setup in especially midfield is very different to mine. So that takes a lot of restructuring. Ideally, I would say that United fixtures turn around from game week 14, so that is somewhere I would look to wildcard, which also aligns with my philosophy of playing the wildcard late, so that I can carry that into the new year. But obviously, in between, I always do consider every week if I can play the wildcard and change my team significantly. So if I feel that there is a chance to actually take that, I will do it.
Ranjay, what about you?
How
Did
about
you?
you guys? You are when are you guys trying to play the wildcard?
I have no idea. I think I'm waiting for Lukaku to fire, and then lament not having Lukaku and getting him. So right now, at least in the next two game weeks, I'm not planning to wildcard.
Well, I may play my wildcard on Game Week 8 actually. I'm just like giving a thought about it.
Game week 8 or this game
Yeah.
week itself?
No, no.
Yeah, I
Game
think
Week 8.
it makes sense to wildcard in the next game week.
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of people will be looking to wildcard and for price rises during international break. First of all, the price rise algorithm has changed a lot. It does not happen in that way anymore. And in stating that, I think from 8, a lot of fixtures actually do turn. City, Southampton, you can still go for Chelsea. So yeah, that makes sense to wildcard. If you guys feel that a lot of players are there whose fixtures are turning and you don't have them, then yeah, definitely go ahead and do the wildcard. That's
Yeah.
about it, guys. Anything else to add? I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
No, not from my side.
Yeah. I just had, actually, I just wanted to add something. That is for someone special. Ronaldo, your team is trailing right now by 1-0.
Yeah, they just conceded.
I think Chelsea also are trailing. Juventus have scored. Chiesa, right?
It's a away
So
match.
But
It's okay.
but that's Juventus. They are Villarreal.
yeah,
So
I was just about to add that at the end. Anjan did it first. I was about to say that both of your teams are trailing by the way in Champions League.
Oh, actually, one more point. Marcos Alonso has been subbed at halftime.
That's brilliant. Who has come on? Ben Chilwell?
Ben Chilwell.
Okay, that's interesting. I'll be ready now to actually get Alonso. I am ready. Let's see how he performs. Anyways, that's it from us, guys. Hope you enjoyed this particular episode. Sorry for any difficulties you guys faced. Love you all. Hope you all have a great game week ahead. Uh, Shout out to everyone who has actually subscribed with us and who takes time to view for us. Do keep loving us. Do like and subscribe and spread the word about our channel. We are pretty new. We need your support. We need your love. And hopefully, we'll look to keep on enhancing your viewing experience going forward. May your arrows be green. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Have a very good
bye
time.
everyone. I hope I hope you've liked our content, and if you have, please do give us a shout out. Thank you, and a very good game week.